in regards to Imam Ali alayhi salam and what miracles did he perform, I'm going to bring one of the miracles among the many miracles that he had to show and to inform us and let us know about at least one of them. So when the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, headed towards Siffin, terrible thirst overcame all of his followers, and the water with them had been used up. So they began to search for water, and they went right and left, but they didn't find any water anywhere, or no trace of water. So Imam Ali alayhi salam turned off the main road with them, and they went off a little bit. So they came upon a monastery or a hermitage appeared before them in the middle of the desert, and Imam Ali went with them, with the army, towards that place. So when he reached this courtyard, he ordered those with him to call out for its occupant to come out before them, whoever lived there, to come out. So they called him, and he came. So Imam Ali alayhi salam asked him, "Is this residence of yours near any water, which will quench the thirst of all of these people that are with me?" The monk replied, "There's no water. There's more than 6 miles between me and water. There's more than 6 miles. It's far away. So there's no water nearer than that to me. If it was not for the fact that I am brought enough water for each month to sustain me, I would be destroyed by thirst." Imam Ali turned towards the people and said, "Did you hear what the monk said?" So the people said, "Yes." So order us to go to that place which he indicated, or which he told us about. Perhaps we'll reach water while we still have some strength. There's no need for you to do that," Imam Ali alayhi salam said. He turned the neck of his mule in the direction of the Qibla, and he directed them to a place near the monastery. And he said, "Uncover the ground over in this place." So a group of them went straight away, and they uncovered the ground with some shovels, and then a shiny rock appeared. So they said to the commander of the faithful, "Here's that rock, here's a great shiny rock, which the shovels are useless on this rock." So Imam Ali told them, "This rock is over the water, and if it moves from its position, then you'll find water." So they struggled to remove it, but they couldn't do it. All of the people came together and tried to move it, but they couldn't find a way to move the rock from its place to find the water. It's too difficult. So when he saw that they had gathered all together to remove the rock, but they weren't able to do it, he put his leg over his saddle until it reached the ground and rolled up his sleeves. He put his fingers under the side of the rock, and he moved it. Imam Ali moved it. He removed it with his hand, and he pushed it many yards away with his hand. And when it had moved from its position, the white glitter of water appeared before them. They hurried to it, and they drank from it. And it was the sweetest, coldest, most pure water that they had ever drunk on their whole journey. So he told them, "Get your supplies and quench your thirst." So they did that, and then he went to the rock and took it with his hand, and he put it back where it was. And he ordered the traces of it to be removed from the earth. And then the hermit had been watching from on top of his monastery, and he realized what had happened, and he called out for the people to come help him down. So they helped him get down, and he stood in front of Imam Ali alayhi salam and said, "Oh man, are you a prophet sent by God?" And he replied, "No." He said, "Are you an angel close to God?" He said, "No." "Who are you?" asked the monk. So he said, "I am the trustee of the apostle of Allah, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the seal of the prophets, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi." The monk said, "Stretch out your hand to me so that I may submit to God, the blessed and exalted, at your hands." So Imam Ali alayhi salam told him to stretch out your hands and say the Shahadatain. The monk said, "I testify that there is no God except Allah. without any partner, and I testify that Muhammad is his servant and his messenger, and I testify that you are the trustee of the apostle of Allah, and the one with most right among the people to authority after him. The commander of the faithful alayhi salam made him understand the conditions of being a Muslim, and then asked him, what is it that had prompted you to enter Islam after your long residence in this monastery in opposition to Islam? I'll tell you, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, he said, this hermitage or this monastery was built to seek out the one who would remove that rock, and then water would come out from underneath it. Scholars before me died, and they did not attain the knowledge of that, but Allah, the Almighty and High, provided me with this knowledge. We find in one of our books and a prose writer of our scholars that in this land there is a spring with a rock over it. No one knows his place except the prophet or the trustee of a prophet, the successor of a prophet. He must be a friend of God who calls men to truth, whose sign is the knowledge of the place of this rock and his ability to remove it. When I saw you do that, I realized that what we had been waiting for. The object of desire had been attained. Today I am a Muslim converted at your hands, a believer in your right and your servant. When he heard that, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam wept until his beard became moist with tears. He started crying, and he said, praise be to Allah by whom I have not been forgotten. Praise be to Allah in whose books I have been mentioned. Then he summoned the people together and said, listen to what your brother Muslim says. And notice here that this man had been in opposition to Islam all of this time. He lived far away in a monastery, and then he just accepted Islam after being in opposition to it, and he was a Christian. And he said, Amir al-Mu'mineen calls him the people's brother. He said, listen to what your brother in Islam has to say. Your brother Muslim, your fellow Muslim, listen to what he has to say. As soon as he accepted the truth, he became a brother to them, and he became one accepted by them. And Imam Ali alayhi salam calls him his brother. He says, listen to your brother in Islam. So all the people listened to his words, and they gave much praise to Allah and thanks for the blessing that they had been bestowed with, and giving them the knowledge of the right of the commander of the faithful. So for those who may have doubted or had some sort of doubt, this was even more confirmation for them when they saw this miracle that Imam Ali alayhi salam did. Then he went out, and the monk went before him among a group of his followers until he met the Syrians. The hermit was among those group who were martyred in the battle of Safin. And Imam Ali alayhi salam carried out the Salatul Mayyit, or the funeral prayer for this monk. And he buried him, and he sought forgiveness for him. And whenever this monk was mentioned, Imam Ali would say, he was my servant. What a high status this monk had for recognizing the truth and accepting the truth, that Imam Ali alayhi salam said that he's your brother in Islam, and he said that he was my servant. What greater thing could we ask for than to be the servant of the Imam? And this is the miracle of Imam Ali, one of the many miracles that Imam Ali alayhi salam performed. But I thought it would be useful and beneficial to bring this one so that we could all benefit from knowing one of the miracles of the Imam alayhi salam.